Well, good morning, everyone. Happy New Year. Welcome to 2021. 2021. My God, where has the time gone, hey? Well, good morning. My name is Tim Hake Sr. I am a speaker, author. I have Parkinson's, and I am a PD Avenger. This is Coffee with Tim, conversations on life and Parkinson's. If this is the first time you're joining me, here in the new year, I'll give you a bit of a background on what we do. We meet just about every Friday. Good morning, Abe and Betty. Welcome. We try to meet most every Friday morning to discuss life, what's going on in life, a little bit of Parkinson's, and maybe find a little bit of inspiration and hopefully a little bit of downtime, a little bit of quiet. This week in particular, once again, just when we found ourselves getting out of 2020 and thinking that we had kind of passed on the gauntlet. In some ways, it seems we've gone from the pan to the fire, as the old saying goes. Good morning, Eleanor, Nora, good morning. But nonetheless, every Friday morning we try to gather together here just for a little bit of quiet, a little bit of sanity, find some encouragement in life. And as it says, Coffee with Tim. So if you haven't yet, grab a coffee. It's always welcome. Tea drinkers are welcome as well. I've got some good friends who drink only tea, and so we got to let them in as well. You know, we got to be inclusive. Happy New Year, Nora. Thank you for joining us this morning. But if you have questions and thoughts, comments along the way, please feel free to put them in the comments section. I often don't get to them during the broadcast, but after the show I'll stop and I'll go through things and try to answer them for you. It is a challenge enough having Parkinson's to actually organize myself to get here. I'm finding it's pretty much a worthless endeavor to try to keep up with answering questions during the process. So I thought this morning we'd talk about the losing of a career. I was a nurse, as many of you know, for 20 some years. I find a lot of people find it shocking that they discovered that I'm a nurse. Oh, and you will note that I am without sans hat today. I thought I would show you what the best the hair can look when it's way too long. I think I'm just showing how much forehead I have. This is what we call the Burstetta forehead. Burstetta would be my birth mom. I've got way more forehead now than I've ever had in my life, and it's slowly increasing. But I am finding that this longer hair gives me a great comb over. I'm not nearly as bald in the back as I used to be. So we'll see how that goes with time. But nonetheless, most of you know that I was a nurse for some 20 years, and I find that a lot of people are a little surprised at times to discover that I was a nurse for so long, because I don't know that I'm the typical nurse personality that people at least initially think of. And how I ended up in nursing is a bit of an interesting story. If you've read my book, Perseverance, I tell the story there. But for those of you who haven't heard it, I found myself in about 1990-91 here in Winnipeg, Canada. We had moved from Kansas to Winnipeg to work for a group called Youth for Christ. Well, that job lasted about a year, and I was married. We had been married, Cheryl and I had been together now for probably 5-6 years at that point. No, maybe not quite that long. My memory starts to go, right? But she was definitely pregnant with our first son, Tim Jr., who ran the race with me, of course. And I found myself unemployed. Good morning, Cindy. You remember those days way back at Youth for Christ? We've known each other a long time, eh? Good morning, Hazel. But nonetheless, I find myself relatively newly married with our first child on the way, and basically unemployed and unemployable, because I had no post-secondary education. Me and school never got along very well. I had not gone back to school except for a little bit of Bible school. And here I find myself in Winnipeg, Canada, of all places, with a wife and a newborn child, and I have basically no way to be employed. I would have made a great waiter at the time, but that was about it. So I start hunting around, and what's this, young 30-something-year-old guy going to do? Well, the short story is that my brother-in-law had gone into physiotherapy, and he comes up to me one day and he goes, "Have you ever considered being a nurse?" I'm like, "No. Do I look like a girl to you?" And I know, I apologize for my ancient old thinking, but I'll be honest, that's one of the first things I thought. I thought, nursing's a girl job. Why would I do that? Well, we have ways of being educated, right? And growing. And I had the opportunity to grow in my thinking. Because you have to go back to my childhood. My mother, well, I basically grew up in a nursing home. In the States, in Kansas, lots of people, my mom included, would care for seniors in our home. And we always had huge houses. Don't think of that as wealthy, huge. Think of that as just lots of space, where she would take care of any number of senior citizens in our home. And I grew up around everything related to seniors. Anything that you can imagine, I probably saw well before I was 15 years old and related to caring for seniors. And that was just a normal part of our growing up. It's what Mom did for a living. Dad was a pastor and had other odd jobs on the side. He always pastored small churches. And so that was just kind of normal. And so I had never really considered any kind of healthcare career until my brother-in-law, Brad, approached me that day and said, well, have you ever considered being a nurse? And, well, I began to consider it. And as I considered, I thought, well, you know what? This is actually a good deal. Good morning, Amy. Speaking of good nurses. At the time, it was a 2-year degree, not a degree, but a diploma, 2 10-month sessions. You come out with a job that A, pays well. Good morning, Dorothy. It is portable, because at the time I was still thinking that, you know what, we'll end up back in the States one day. Maybe I'll go back to the States to nurse. We could travel. We had always had traveling on our minds, and so it was something that maybe we could travel with. And so it made sense. 2 years of education for a guy who was not keen on heading back into university, wasn't sure what I would do with that. So I applied to nursing school. Lo and behold, I get accepted to St. Boniface Hospital. But this was right at the time when the 2-year diploma programs were starting to close down. And so it became unsure, but I accepted to both St. Boniface Hospital. And you bet, Diane, it sure is being an awesome job. I got accepted to St. Boniface Hospital diploma program, as well as the Grace Hospital diploma program. Well, because things were spinning down, I don't remember exactly what if I missed the last class, if St. B actually didn't have another class after that, or just what. But nonetheless, I ended up at the Grace Hospital, which was a great experience. Absolutely loved nursing school. I was one of the older individuals in the class, of course. One of a few guys. There were maybe half a dozen of us. I don't remember much of anything anymore. But nonetheless, ended up in school, and it's the first time in life that I actually ended up on the honor roll. Morning, Richard, Greg. Morning. Thanks for joining us. It's the first time I actually ended up on the honor roll in anything in education, because I absolutely loved what we were studying. And I found that when I ended up on the ward, I loved caring for patients. One of my very first experiences was on a geriatric ward, which would be right back to seniors, what Mom did. And while I never felt that the place that I wanted to work long term, I felt a huge affinity for it and felt a real strong pull to see those people taken care of well. Because I had seen what one woman on her own was able to do in preventing bed sores, in keeping people mobile, in keeping people clean and dressed and fed and end-of-life care, all of those things. I had seen it, I had witnessed it, and so I knew it could be done well. And then as, you get out of school, you go on to work. I ended up at St. Boniface Hospital for most of my career, and I did a little bit of everything. I worked a little bit in Emerge, tried to get through my ICU course, but I tried to do that while I was working part-time, running a store, had twins, which were our 3rd and 4th children at the time, and thought I would go to school at the same time. Well, that was just insanity. I should have never done that. Didn't make it through the course, but didn't really enjoy ICU either. I since learned that it just wasn't my style of work and my style of thinking. So nonetheless, that was fine. Ended up, St. B was my final job, but prior to the end there, I took a hiatus from the hospital for 6 years, went to work for Fast Air Medevac, helped them put their Medevac in place. Spent 5 years, 6 years there, I think. And helped build 3 bases in the north. Went from 1 plane to 3 planes in my tenure, and right after I left they added a 4th. And that continues to be the primary air ambulance service in Manitoba now. And I'm quite pleased and proud to have had a history with them. A lot of good friends still there, and great experience. And just a cool job. Just a job that was super cool. Get to wear a flight suit, get to ride in the back of a plane. I delivered a baby in the back of a plane. That wasn't so cool, but it's cool that it turned out okay. Did all kinds of crazy stuff in the north. Just super fun, super exciting. And after 21 years, had a great career. Loved nursing. Oh, thank you, Tracy. I loved working at St. B, and it was really tough to leave. In 2015, December of 2015, my Parkinson's symptoms had come to the place where I wasn't coping well. My tremor wasn't so bad and the externals weren't so bad, but I found that I wasn't dealing with the cognitive side of the issue well. And in large part because I didn't understand the cognitive side that was happening. I didn't realize that with Parkinson's you get so overwhelmed with information. And at the time I was managing a surgical floor, as well as I was covering the OR, which was a huge responsibility. And I found I couldn't do it. I just simply could not keep up. And I'm not going to go into all that story. I've told that story to some degree, and in my book I've told that story to some degree. And we'll discuss it again maybe sometime. But for this morning, we'll just leave it with the fact that I didn't feel safe anymore. I didn't feel like I could do my job safely and give both the hospital and my patients and my staff the things that they needed to be successful. So December 1st of 2015, I went on leave. And here we are 5 years later, getting the letter that I knew would come. And this is not surprising. I knew that this letter would eventually come. But it came last month, December 18th, and it says, from St. Boniface Hospital, you have been on leave of absence since December 1st, 2015. Based on the medical information on file, dated November 17th, 2020, there is no indication that you will be able to return to work at St. Boniface Hospital in the foreseeable future. And this is what Parkinson's does for you, folks. It robs, it steals, it takes things that are meaningful and doesn't allow you to live the life that you wanted. You work hard to get through school. You take out loans, you have kids. You put in the time and the effort to be a good nurse, or good at what you do. And Parkinson's doesn't give a damn. Doesn't care who you are. Doesn't care what you've put in. Doesn't care what it means to you. It comes along and it takes whatever it is it wants to take. And you're just left. Done. There you are. So what do you do? What do you do when Parkinson's comes along and robs you of your career and brings a finality to it that just changes everything? And this letter, again, I've known this was coming for 5 years because Parkinson's doesn't relent, it doesn't stop, it doesn't get better, it doesn't go away. You know that the time is going to come when they're going to have to turn you loose. So you're prepared for it, but not, right? You're prepared for it, but not. So now I count myself extraordinarily blessed, extraordinarily fortunate that I have U-turn Parkinson's. I have the PD Avengers. I have a speaking career. I am more busy than I should actually be. It's nuts some days. I sometimes sit back and ask myself, what are you doing? I can't imagine the guys who are like me, who are a little type A, who need to stay busy, who don't have enough to do. So I consider myself very, very fortunate that I can continue to move forward in a sort of nursing, in a form of nursing, to help people who live with this disease through active wellness. You know, U-turn Parkinson's, we're here to empower people living with Parkinson's in their pursuit of wellness, so that every day we can get up and pursue wellness, whether that be mental wellness, emotional wellness, physical, spiritual, how we spend our time and what we do with ourselves day after day, build a community so that people can be met where they're at and live their best with this disease. That is our goal. So yeah, your comments are killing me here, folks. Good grief. I'll pull it together. But every time I look down and see another comment, it gets me again. But thank you for your kind comments. It means the world. And I knew I would be tempted to be like this, and I thought I had it under control, but it never seems to be that way. But nonetheless, I am so very grateful to have my community at U-turn Parkinson's, and very, very pleased that I can, not only does that meet a personal need, but it meets a need to so many in our community. In Manitoba, there are 6,000 people who live with this disease. In Canada, there are over 100,000 that live with the disease. In the States, there's over 1 million. And across the world, there's over 10 million that live with this disease. And I am so very thankful that I have the opportunity to have an outlet that can allow me to pick up and to continue a form of nursing, even if I'm not a nurse anymore. And I could, the option there is to always go back to school, do a 2-year refresher, and then do what? Shake on the ward, you know? My standing joke is the reason I've stopped becoming a nurse is because all my patients would get really antsy when I came at them with a needle. Yeah, nobody wants me coming at you with a needle anymore. I can't even carry. Okay, I wouldn't even be able to carry a tray of meds down the hall, let alone keep track of what I'm supposed to be doing with 5 patients. Can you imagine a person with Parkinson's on the ward? I can't remember my name half the time, and I'm supposed to remember what my 5 patients need. And I agree, Diane, I think we're always a nurse. It's not something you can lose. So with U-turn, with PD Avengers, with the things that I do, I channel my nursing into that. And that is a huge positive for me. So for you this morning, the things that you've lost maybe, whether that be from Parkinson's or from something else, I want to ask you this morning, how do you channel it? What can you do to continue using the skills that you have to help others, to help yourself, to stay focused when life is chaotic, when it's nuts, that it allows you to have a fallback to say, you know what, I don't know what else I'm accomplishing in this world, but I know that U-turn is doing well. I know that there are people there who take great pride and take great encouragement out of what we do. And I want to encourage you to look for those kind of outlets in your life. Whether that be helping out a neighbor, or a family member, or a colleague, or whatever that might be. Look for ways to take your gifts and abilities, because they're still very real, they're still very important, and they're needed. Somebody needs what you have. I'm not the same as you, you're not the same as me. We're not going to end up doing the same things, but somebody needs the gifts and ability that you've brought into this world. And I want to encourage you to find ways to use that and to give back to your world. All right, I made it through. Yeah, awesome. I debated long and hard about sharing this with you, but I think I'm glad I did. It's important to me, and I hope it's meaningful to you. So I need to give you the update on the puppy diaries. As many of you know, we've now had a puppy in our house for, we got her on the 15th of December. So however long that means. Yeah, 15th of December. And I wish I could show you the picture. My hair is so long this morning, I can do a full-on Kramer thing where it's just standing up. And I took a picture like that this morning. I'll see if it ends up on Facebook or not. But that's how I feel with Bella is her name some days. It's just chaos, absolute chaos. It is truly like having a child in the house. And man, oh man, oh man, wow. But do we love her? Absolutely. She is absolutely gorgeous. She is so much fun. I'm having a blast training her. She is doing, she's sitting, she's lying down, she's fetching, she's coming. She's doing all those fun things, and we're learning to heel and walk together, because I really want to be able to walk her as we progress together through Parkinson's. I don't need she'll be a fairly big dog, and so I need her to be under control so that she's not dragging me, along the snow, twitching in the ditches, right? But so the dog diaries, the puppy diaries are going very, very well, and yeah. Hey, Sarah, good morning. Thank you. So want to encourage, Sarah Grafman King, of all things, leading into this thought. U-Turn Parkinson's has started a number of videos that we put on YouTube that we call our YouTube video, our workout series. And I want to encourage you to check those out. You can find them at uturnparkinsons.org /YouTube. uturnparkinsons.org/YouTube, and I'll put it in the notes afterwards for you to see there. But there's a whole variety of workout videos and stretches that we're putting up on our website through YouTube. I want to encourage you that if you're not exercising and you have PD, to go check those out. We will also be putting up there some voice workouts and a whole variety of things. So take the time to go over to uturnparkinsons.org/YouTube, check out what we're doing there, and make use of it if you need something more than what you're doing right now to exercise. I want to encourage you to do that. All right, I think that's it for today, guys. Welcome to 2021. I guess it would be remiss to not mention the things that have been going on south of the border in my home country. Again, take the time to pray for folks, regardless of where you're at in the issues, regardless of where you find yourself in thoughts on it all. Take the time to pray for peace. That as much as it is up to you to live at peace, to find a common ground, to find the ability to come together and to push for those high ideals that we as Americans have always held, that we are one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pray for those ideals. Work towards those ideals. And while I know there's lots wrong right now, there's lots that needs to be fixed, we can point fingers in so many directions. That won't help. What we need is peace and a focus on the future. So take care today. Live your best. I'll look forward to seeing you next Friday. And until then, persevere. It's been a pleasure, guys. Bye-bye.